Shall we?
We shall.
What's up, y'all? This is the Weekly Western. Now, this is the first one that we are doing, so let me kind of explain to you what the Weekly Western is. I can't quite tell you what it is and what it means all the way yet, but just know this. It is a weekly video in which I will get to share just more of my life, more of the music that we're making, why we're making it, adding a lot more context to my life and this project that we're working on that, again, I can't spill all the beans yet, but this will be the place every week that I hope we just get to create a real dialogue and conversation. I want you guys to be commenting, letting me know on Instagram what questions to answer, letting me know in the comment section here which questions to answer. We're gonna do a Q&A. We're gonna do this other part, which I'll share with you in a second. So overall, this is just gonna be our kind of place where we can come hang once a week. So welcome to the Weekly Western. First things first, we're gonna start it off with this kind of game that my mom used to make us play when we were little around the kitchen table. It was the best part of your day, the worst part of your day, and the most random part of your day. For our purposes, we'll be calling it gold, cactus, and horseshoe. Good, bad, random. So, this week, my gold was that I did less. I just wasn't on tour, I was barely in the studio, and I just got to hang out. I got to play golf, I got to sleep in. I know it sounds weird to have in my goal, but that was just so freaking nice to sleep in and just do nothing a little bit. Got to have a full weekend in town in Nashville. I never get to do that, so I got to see people I hadn't seen in a long time. I think a lot of people forget I was basically on tour the entire fall. I was home during winter break, in which I was sick for 4 weeks. Then I got back to Nashville. We shot the Ram Trucks thing, went back out on tour. The weekend we had off, I went and filmed stuff in Arizona for What Do We Do Now, the newest single, and back on tour. So I feel like I haven't been just a normal human being in a long time. And this week, I felt that way. So that is my goal. And gold it was. Let's see, cactus. Ooh, what was my cactus? I have such an old man back. And I threw out my back just a little bit, not enough, but just kind of nursing that little back injury. It's just very annoying. Laundry. Man, I hate laundry. It is just the bane of my existence. And it never ends. Forever. We'll just always be doing laundry the rest of our lives, and that's kind of horseshit. And then I would say I put a lot of hard work into some videos that I made this week that I was super proud of, and this is just part of being a creator. I edited them and I made them, and you put them out in the world hoping that they fly, and they just crash and burn and fucking do terrible. So that never feels fun. So that's probably a part of my little cactus this week. My horseshoe. Oh, last night I was eating dinner with my parents, which was just super nice. I hadn't seen them in forever, which it's always nice to see my parents. They live in Nashville now. And my mom got me this this bolo tie. That was actually, pause. I'm gonna grab it right now. Hey, I'm back and I never left. So this is my great-grandfather's bolo tie. And he was first of all a musical savant and could play almost every instrument, which is really cool. Literally he could play almost every woodwind instrument, almost all the horns, and almost all the string instruments. So violin, viola, cello, guitar, piano. He was just a crazy man. And he would what was it called? People would do the little wand. Maestro, no. Director, no. Composer? There's one more. There's another way to say this human being. Is it composer? Okay, we're gonna edit ourselves later if it's not. He was one of those guys with the little wand and the gloves. Conductor! Thank you very much, Morgan. Ding, ding, ding. And, but he also played in a 7-person Western band, and they would play all these country music or country Western hits of the time. And they played the Broadmoor, and it was kind of this thing that people from all over Colorado would come see. And so this was a part of their outfit that they would wear every night. So my mom surprised me with this at dinner, and it was just so random and lovely. And I was like, how cool that my great-grandfather, who did music before me, now I'm kind of wearing this while I do music. And this will be a part of what's to come, a little Easter egg for you. Anywho, now I'm gonna throw this on the couch. Gold, Cactus, Horseshoe of my week. There you go. Now, what I'd like to do, part of the weekly Western is going to be the Gold, Cactus, and Horseshoe, and then another part is some more Q&A. I think the questions I'm going to be answering here a little bit more about my life and stuff that I can't really answer just in a TikTok or an Instagram story or something like that. Obviously, I do weird questions only, but I think these will be a little bit more about like my life and my story. And so now we will get into the Q&A. I'm going to be taking your guys' questions, so make sure to drop your questions for next week's video in the comments below. And now, our first question. Simple sound. Gundy? Gwundy? G-U-I-N-N-D-Y. Gwundy? Hi, Gwundy. The question is, when you are in a negative headspace or a funk, what do you do? It's a great question. I'm there more often than I'd like to be. I have like a list of things on my phone that I try to just do as many of them as possible. I think my number ones are definitely sleep, eat healthy, exercise. I would say hang out with friends if I'm in a bad funk. If I hang out with people that I really love, that kind of like make me laugh and just give me that perspective is really good. There's some like authors or some YouTubers that I'll kind of go through and just watch some of their stuff or listen to little inspirational things. I think going through and calling some of my friends from like high school or my siblings or my parents, that's a big one for me. I guess one that I'm now realizing as I'm saying it is just being with or communicating with other people. A lot of times if I'm in a funk, I just need to talk about it. I really process things out loud. So like even this is just, it's kind of nice for me. This is, you guys are just giving me free therapy, baby. Yeah, so that's really nice. I would say definitely working out. I know I already said that one, but just to like emphasize, if I don't work out, you know, a couple times a week, I start to feel really weird or off. And then, you know, writing songs can be helpful as well. Luckily, the thing that I love to do can also be therapeutic and help me get out of funks, which, what a serendipity. Great question. That was a great question. And again, so sorry for butchering your name. Gandhi. Next question. Brenna Taman asks, if someone were to introduce you, how do you think they would describe you as a person? I mean, how do I think or how do I hope? Different questions. I think that they would say, you know, he's a country artist from Denver, lives in Nashville. I hope my hope is that people think of me, hopefully first of all, as just like kind and somebody that they can come to as a good listener and as a good friend. Like I think at the end of my days, I'd like to be remembered as a great son and brother and friend and, you know, hopefully husband or dad or whatever eventually, like first. Because I think that's, at the end of the day, what really matters. I think there's a good chance that they would mention music and you know, I work really hard. Maybe they would say I'm a hard worker. I hope they say I'm a hard worker. Maybe that's just me being a 3 on the Enneagram, hoping that everyone sees my achievements all the time. You know, some have described me as funny. I would take that as well. That would be nice. And then yeah, I think somebody who just is there for people. I want to be the kind of person that gave more than I took. So that would be the hope. Maybe they say I'm a piece of shit. And this is why we don't know, folks. But these are the hard-hitting questions. Thanks for your question, Brenna Damon. Great question. Paige_Woot asks, how was moving from Colorado to Nashville, or how, let's try that again. Paige_Woot has asked, how was moving from Colorado to Nashville, affecting your mental health. How has moving from Colorado to Nashville affected your mental health? Highs and lows. I would say now I'm in a really good place because I have a community. When I first moved to Nashville, I didn't really have a community of people, and I think for me, as an extrovert, guy who processes out loud, who loves friends and loves community, it just was really hard. I struggled with kind of being alone more than I had in my life. You're out of the nest, you know, my parents weren't around, my siblings weren't around. Had a great group of high school friends, and those people weren't around, so that was kind of the low for me. But I think the high, or the silver lining, if anything else, was just like I became really independent, and I think I really like that about myself now. That's definitely not something I could say in my late teens, early 20s. I was codependent, but now I feel like I can navigate my own life, and I enjoy my alone time, and so it was kind of a forged in the fire of that thing. It was a gift to myself to kind of have to go through that. So the highs and the lows of moving across the country and packing all your things into a Nissan Pathfinder. RIP the Pathfinder. Last question, folks. And again, drop your questions for next week in the comments. And also, share your thoughts on my questions and all the things, or my answers to the questions. At Rebecca_Paul05 asks, how do you get your inspiration for songs? And is there a place or person that sparks that inspiration? Really good question. For me, I used to write songs about anything or random situations that I had never lived. And I feel like there was always a disconnect between me and my actual audience of people just couldn't relate to it as well. So I try to just tell my actual story. That includes things like things I wish I did differently, things I wish would happen, certain hypothetical situations can still fit in your story because, again, they're what you kind of want to happen or trying to be or want to be or not to be. But for the most part, my songwriting inspiration is from my life, especially in the relationship world, especially in the love and the breakup world. It just kind of comes from the actual scenario. Like, what do we do now? The last song I put out, sitting in your Volkswagen trying to make a plan how to tell our friends. We literally broke up in my ex-girlfriend's Volkswagen Tiguan. We were sitting there in the parking garage, and I was just like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do now? And I said those words out loud and later wrote it in my phone because I just felt like that was exactly what I wanted to say in that moment. And we had a trip planned for that month to go to Colorado. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to call my mom, and we're not gonna go to Colorado. And it was just such a mess. And I remember that feeling. And so I feel like because it hits me hard, because I've actually lived it, I feel like it then translates. Because it hits me hard, it hopefully hits my fans hard, whether that's good or bad. Love, breakup, life, whatever that it is. I just wanted to come from my actual experience, my heart. I hope my songs are like little pieces of my heart, and that by the end of, especially this next project, you're gonna really understand and know me just that much deeper. And that's every artist's dream, is for their people to go, yeah, I deeply know and understand you. And that's kind of the goal of making art. I'm just a guy wearing a Broncos hat. That's all our questions. Yeah? Wonderful. I really like those. Like I said, drop more questions in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. What are you doing? You're this far and you don't subscribe. Shame on you. And then the last thing, the Weekly Western is going to end what we will call the Western Update. You don't know what that means yet because we haven't told you what it means. But I can tell you this much. I am putting out a bunch of music this year that is telling this really grand story. And the story is really about my journey. It's the hero's journey. And I think everyone will be able to plug themselves into this really long, powerful story that we're going to tell. And so through that, every week there's going to be a new thing to talk about. The chapters in which it comes out, the songs in which it comes out, why those songs are on those chapters, all those things. And again, I can't say too much, else I'm going to get a blow dart in the neck. But just know that this will be the section of the Weekly Western moving forward in which I'll really go into depth about the music we're putting out, why we're putting it out, and where it fits on this project that, again, you'll know about very soon, and I can't wait for you to know about. So, this was the first attempt at a weekly Western video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really want this to be a conversation, and I'm not just saying that like, let's have a conversation. I'm actually gonna try to like sit down and go through all these comments and respond to you guys, whether that's on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. I just want to be way better at talking to you guys and building this community, because I think it'll be more fun for this entire community to go through this whole story together. So drop your comments, drop your questions, subscribe, like the video, and just generally, I love and appreciate you all. If you're watching this, you're a huge part of what we're doing. So we appreciate you. Shout out to the Stadium Gang, and we'll see you next week for the Weekly Western.